And welcome to the podcast with your host, Gary Bowman. Gary, how you doing? I hadn't seen you in a while.
Doing pretty good. Trying to stay cool here at the
Yeah, like all of America right now.
yeah,
And all the Europeans in America who are like, holy smoke, man.
Oh yeah. Just working away and having living the dream, you know.
Well, it's just a good topic that you've got today, because today you're going to talk about Social Security. And anybody who is in smelling distance of 60 is already being bombarded by financial advisors and everybody with, let's talk about Social Security. And yeah, it's kind of boring, but there's some things that you really should know about it. And I know I can count on you to kind of make it simple and break it down and make some sense of it. So let's get going.
All right, let's do it.
So let's start. I mean, what is the deal with freaking Social Security, Gary? Where do you want to open this conversation?
Well, what I like to start with Social Security, I like to talk about the history of Social Security and why it's so important to look at, because back like in the 70s, 80s, you had the defined benefit plans, right? Where you had companies, people would work for the same company for their whole career, and then their kids would move out, they'd pay off their house, and basically they would coordinate retirement with their Social Security age. Back then was 65. And they'd coordinate that with their pension. Now we got enough money that we can live comfortably, and I don't have to go to work anymore. And so Social Security back then was part of a two stream system. You had your defined benefit, you had your Social Security, and then that's what you would get the term, I'm on a fixed income, because that's what most people were on. Fixed income. They didn't save anything else, right?
Yeah.
So it's so you go back there, and then you get in the 80s, and the defined contribution plans became very important, or became a little bit more popular. And so now the employers are like, well, this is a great system, a model that we don't have to have the liability, we don't have to all the paperwork, and it's less for them to do. And they put the onus of saving on the employee. So there's some good and bad to that, but it's it really made it so that nowadays a lot of people only have one fixed income stream, and that's Social Security.
Security.
The planning and looking at it's a lot more complex. I mean, I have listen to people. I'm at that age right there where you're getting near the 60s, and people will be talking about Social Security, and there's so much misinformation, and I don't know who they're talking to or where they're getting that information, but it's a little more complex depending on how much the higher net worth you are, the higher income you are, the tax brackets you might be in. So there's a lot of strategy that goes into deciding what you're going to do with Social Security.
Yeah, well, it has become a lot more important, as you just pointed out, for most people in terms of retirement. So the number one question, and this is the one you get hit with all of the time, and I'm sure you get the mailings too, is people are saying, want to tell you when you should start taking Social Security. So what should people know in terms of looking at Social Security when they're thinking about themselves? When should they think about start taking it, and what should they know in terms of the timing and how much that matters?
Well, timing is not as simple as some people try to make it. It's not about, do I take it at 62, which is the earliest you can take it, or do I take it at my full retirement age, which now anyone born after the 1960s is about 67 years old. So that's kind of where you're going to get your maximum benefits that you've earned. And then if you delay that to 70, you get 8% added on each year. So you can get, that would be the maximum you're going to get. It's after 70, you don't get any more. So those are like the three basic ages you'd be looking at, but it's not as easy as saying, well, I'm going to claim early, or I'm going to claim in the middle, or at my full retirement. It's so many things that we look at. So what I would recommend is you got to look at, your income streams, because like we talked about with the defined contribution plans, now you have, withdrawals from your IRA that are going to come out, whether it's when you retire or when your required minimum distributions come out. You might continue to work, so it depends on your age. So if you take it early and you're still working, they might claw back some of that of your Social Security. your health, your longevity of your family. Like if you have longevity in your family, like my family, we live into their 90s. So if we waited till 70 to take it, then we're going to get a lot more out of the system if we live that long. The but it's just so it's a factor to look at. The other thing is the spouse. If you're married, it's
Oh, yeah.
a that's a really big factor, because the spousal benefits and survivor benefits, we'll talk about a little bit later, are super important.
So, what should people know when they're? I mean, understand that this is a nuanced conversation, and we should state right up front that everybody is different. Everybody's got a different timing schedule, and they probably really ought to, instead of listening to all the mails that they get, sit
Yeah.
down with a financial advisor, right, and say, "Explain this to me."
Right. Because it was my answer when people ask me, like, when should I take it? And I'm always like, it depends. How much work have you done and looked at, like, where's your income coming from when you retire, and
Yeah.
what's your age of you and your spouse, and are you guys going to retire together, or like if a spouse is significantly younger, let's say a 10-year difference in age, that could be a big difference as far as like survivor benefits and how the spouse can get paid out if there was a death, or when they get their timing strategies with spousal benefits. So there's a lot of nuances that go into it, and so a lot of rules and different things you got to understand before you start to make that decision, because you can't change it. It's like it gets set
Yeah.
in stone, kind of. I mean, there are some rules that allow you. Like I said, there's a lot of rules, so there's always an exception. But for the most part, once you claim it, you're pretty much stuck with what you choose.
Yeah. So talk with your financial advisor, or talk with Gary, and figure that part out. Now, you mentioned spousal benefits. There's some confusion about this. I know I've actually had people ask me, hey, we're both, my husband and I are on Social Security. Do I get his benefits if he dies first? I look at them and I go, this is really not a conversation you want to have with me.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
talk about spousal benefits and
Well,
who gets what and how does that work?
Well, there's the spousal benefit is there's two things. There's spousal and there's survival. So they kind of go
Okay.
together. But so with the spousal benefit, what's interesting of Social Security is, let's say I work to my full retirement age and my benefit's like $3,000 a month. Well, if my wife worked taking care of the family and taking care of the house, and she never paid into Social Security, she's entitled to 50% of my benefit, that the higher earner, the earner
Oh,
in that case, right? So if I'm getting 3,000, she's eligible for $1,500 a month, so that's 4,500. That's a big difference. So
yes.
the claiming strategies are important there. So, when spouse gets 50%, but let's
Yeah.
assume that your the thing down the future would be like the survival benefits. So in that scenario, if one of the spouses passed, then the lower amount would go away. So you have to plan for potential scenarios
Mm.
of someone dying, which it does happen.
So in your scenario you just outlined, if you're getting 3,000, your wife is getting 1,500, and you pass away, she's entitled to that larger benefit. She doesn't have to subsist on $1,500 a month. She's entitled to what you were receiving. Is that correct?
Correct. So then she would receive she'd bump automatically into what I'm receiving to get the higher benefit, and would
Yes.
lose her lower benefit, which that's where the planning comes into play, because you have to look at the scenarios. So whether no matter who passes, you're going to lose that lower benefit. So you might have some extra, some savings or retirement accounts or other assets that you're investing to cover that difference if you need it. So, all right. So another scenario is that both spouses are working and they start collecting Social Security. And so let's say they're both collecting $3,000 a month. Well, if one of the spouses passes away, they're going to lose the other spouse's, the lower benefit's going to be gone. So if they're both collecting
Yeah.
the same amount, or one's a little bit less, so these are big reductions in income for people.
Yeah.
That's why it's important that we're looking at these scenarios down the road. So planning out into the future is super important with this situation.
No kidding. And one of the things that shocks me all of the time, and I know about this because I have a friend who volunteers to help people do their tax returns.
Hmm.
And one of the things that constantly shocks him is the number of people who have never had a dime taken out of their Social Security tax,
Yeah.
thinking, oh, nobody taxes this. But surprise, surprise, Social Security is, in fact, taxed, isn't it, Gary?
It is taxed. It's taxed up to 85%. And so most people are getting taxed. The good news is 85% of it's taxed, 15% is not. Most
Yep.
states don't tax it, a few do. So taxation's important because there's a lot the threshold of what you can make before it gets taxed is very low. It has never been indexed to inflation since like 1983. So more and more
Wow.
people are getting into the where they're being taxed on their Social Security. So it's for married couples it's like 44,000 or whatever, and you're looking at income from when you're doing your taxes would be like from your IRAs, because if you're retired, you're usually taking distribution from your IRA, or you might be
Of
working
course.
part time. You might have even municipal bonds are added back into that, which are tax exempt in most cases, but in this case, they add it back to see if it's part of your income. So, yeah,
Wow.
like I said, there's a lot of rules and stuff, and what happens is with the when you're looking at the plan, you're stretching it out and say you retire at 65, 66, whatever, you have some time to start moving money into things that won't be affected, like using a Roth IRA strategies, where you
Mm.
can do some taxation maximization, using tax bracket maximization for taking people money from your IRA before you have to, before the required minimum distributions, using that and building up a Roth that you can pull out, which would not affect the Social Security. So these are some interesting little strategies that you can look at, but you have to be proactive. You don't start them at 72 or 74. You start them at when you
All right.
retire,
No.
So it's
No, that's the kind of thing I usually do. I'm always sitting down there going, "Well, it's a little late here, Bill.
yeah, should have done that. Yeah, 10
You
years
should have
ago.
done that like 10 years ago." So,
Right.
so Gary, I know that there have been some rules and policy changes recently. What are some of those things that you think retirees should be aware of and know about?
Well, the biggest one that's happened recently is the windfall elimination and the government offset, which are basically reduces benefits for retirees. Say if you're collecting a government pension, like if you're a fireman or a teacher or something like
Yeah.
that, and you paid into both, they reduced your benefit. And if you're a spouse of someone who was and they're receiving Social Security and you have a pension, then they would reduce your benefit. And in 2025, they repealed that, and it was a huge win for people that were having their benefits reduced based on those formulas that they were using. So that's a big one. The
Mm,
fact that Social Security is going to go broke and we're not going to have pay anything. Well, I don't think that that's going to happen. I think that there might be a reduction in benefit down the way if the government doesn't get their act together and change some things up.
yeah.
But it's going to be there for you. There's like 50% of people rely on Social Security for their income, and 25% rely on at least 90% of their income. So it wouldn't the money's going to be there, so that myth doesn't exist. It's just, I think it comes down to more like integrating Social Security planning and deciding when to claim it into your overall strategy and your overall plan to reduce taxes as much as possible and gain as much income as you can after tax.
That tax word never goes away. Always there, all the
It's a,
time. Always there.
well, it's always taxes and inflation. That's the two biggest
That's it.
whammies for you when you're retired and you're looking at your income streams. You better prepare for the inflation, which was very high at this point, and the taxes will never go away. So
No. Nope, they'll always be there. Well, this is an interesting episode. And if anybody should take anything, bottom line away from this, Gary, I would say the most important one is that when you're looking at Social Security, don't rely on what you get on the internet. Go sit down and talk to your financial advisor. Is that about right?
Right. Yeah. Well, I think that's because this segment it's exactly what you just said. It's a lot. There's planning that goes in. It's not just a matter you take it earlier,
Right.
you take it for retirement. There's a lot that goes into it, and there's just so much. You can't just put it in a segment. And if we did, you'd probably fall asleep. So we need to. We just want to make the point that choosing your strategy takes a little bit of planning for sure, and you should talk to someone about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we get to the really juicy part of this episode, because this next one coming up, the next episode, is going to be really, really interesting. Tell us about that so that, people can look forward to what's about to happen.
Well, we've got one of my clients that I helped retire out about 20 plus years ago, worked for the county. And when she retired, she had a dream, and it was she started a safari company and does safaris in Tanzania, and she's still doing it and is very passionate about it. I've been on safari with her a couple of times, and it is a fascinating experience, and she's a very fascinating person. It'll be a fun thing that we can talk about.
Oh, that'll be really great. So that is your cue, folks, that if you're listening to this and you're not a subscriber, hit the subscriber button, hit the follow button. Because the beauty of that is you don't have to remember this conversation for long. When Safari K comes on the show, you'll get a notice, and you can go, oh, that's right, I wanted to listen. And you can come and listen. The other thing that I would ask is that if you like the podcast, give it a like. Tell people about it. Word of mouth, especially these days, word of mouth promotion is more important than ever. So until next time, I'm Bill Tucker on behalf of Gary Bowman, thanking you for taking the time to listen today. And hit that follow button. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you for listening to Building a Retirement Plan That Lasts. If you enjoyed this episode, click the follow button so you can be notified when new episodes are released. To learn more, visit our website at bowmanretirementplanning.com. The opinions expressed in this program are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual or on any specific security. It is only intended to provide education about the financial industry. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult your financial advisor prior to investing. Any past performance discussed during this program is no guarantee of future results. Any indices referenced for comparison are unmanaged and cannot be invested into directly. As always, please remember investing involves risk and possible loss of principal capital. Please seek advice from a licensed professional. Custom Wealth Management, Inc. is a registered investment advisor. Advisory services are only offered to clients or prospective clients where Custom Wealth Management, Inc. and its representatives are properly licensed or exempt from licensure. No advice may be rendered by Custom Wealth Management, Inc. unless a client service agreement is in place.